Okay, so in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at how the ordering of your if-else ladder really matters. So what we're going to do is we will do a program where the user is going to be entering how long they jumped. So this is going to be a distance, and we'll do this one in centimeters. Um, so we'll do a centimeter jump distance. So what I've got is I've prepared the jumping distance of a variety of animals, and we're going to make a comparison between the distance that the user jumped and the distance that those animals can jump. Um, so we're going to do a const int, and I've got everything in integer values just to simplify things. So what we're going to do is we're going to have the distance that a snake can jump. So the distance the average a snake can jump is 0 centimeters. Most of them can't jump or do anything that looks like a jump. Okay, now you may have always wondered how far can a giraffe jump? So wonder no more. They can jump a distance of 100 centimeters. So that's 1 meter distance. Now, there's an animal called a kangaroo rat. So we're going to abbreviate this as kangarat jump. And that distance is going to be 8 meters. They can jump 8 meters. They're teeny tiny, but they can jump 8 meters. And then the longest jumping animal, as far as I can tell, is I'm going to have to abbreviate this one heavily because I don't want to spell it out. So 15 meters is the distance of a klipspringer, which is kind of like a gazelle type animal. So anyway, we've got these distances. We're going to read in how far the user jumps. So cout, how far did you jump? And we'll remind them that it is in centimeters. Okay. I don't want my and here actually. There we go, because I want to see in the jump distance. There we go. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to do an if-else ladder that will compare their jump to the distance that these animals can jump. So if jump is going to be larger than or larger than a snake jump, we will say that your jump is farther than a snake. So we'll do a cout. Your jump is farther than a snake's. And then we'll put an andel here. Okay. Now we're going to do else ifs for the remainder. So else if the jump is larger than giraffe jump, then we're going to, and I'll do a little copy paste here just to keep things identical, keeps me from making a mistake. This. So this means that your jump is larger than a giraffe's. Now that I've got the else if, I'm going to totally copy this line. So now this one is going to be kangarat jump. And your jump is farther than a kangaroo rats. And then the last one, I just spelled giraffe wrong. Just notice that. Sometimes that's an added advantage of copying and pasting is you get to read your code over and over again. So KS jump, your jump is farther than a clip springers. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to enter how far I jumped, and I want to see which animal it is farther than. So let's run this and then see what happens. So let's say my first jump is 5 centimeters. Okay, great. My jump is farther than a snake's. So now what I want to do is I want to make mine, let's say 1,000. So it'll be larger than a kangaroo rat. So I'm going to run this again. And I'm going to get 1,000. And it says my jump is farther than a snake's, which is not what I want to have happened. So there's something wrong with my program. So let's take a look. Okay, so this is where the ordering of your if-else ladder is pretty important. So we know that the way an if-else ladder works is it finds the first true statement and then it skips past the rest. So when I put in 5, it enters the first one and it says, okay, is 5 larger than snake jump? Is 5 larger than 0? Yes, true statement. So this is what it prints. Now, if I put in 1,000, is 1,000 larger than a snake jump? Well, 1,000 is larger than 0. So this is a true statement. So it prints this and then it finishes, which is not what I want to have happen. So when we're doing an if-else ladder, it is often important, and sometimes you'll just have to figure out what the ordering should be based on the situation, but usually you want to put the most extreme case first. So the most extreme case would be if I was measuring this first one, like larger than a clip springer. So what we have to do is we have to reverse the order of our if-else ladder. So I'm going to cut this, paste it underneath. I'm going to cut this, paste it underneath, and then I'm going to cut this and paste it underneath. Now, this is not correct, and I'll show you the error when I run it. It will say on line 18, error, else without a previous if. And that's right. On line 18, there's an else, but we don't have an if, which is always the root of the if-else ladder. So the very first comparison we make has to be an if, and then it can be followed with any number of else ifs that we want. So let's see what happens when I run it and the order is reversed. So I put in 5. Oh, my jump is farther than a snake's, and then I'm going to put in 1,000. Great, my jump is farther than a kangaroo rat. So let's take a look at how it passes through if I put in a 5. If I put in a 5, it says, is 5 larger than 1,500? Nope. Is 5 larger than a 800? Nope. Is 5 larger than 100? Nope. Is 5 larger than 0? Yes. So this is the one that actually runs. Now, if I put in 1,000, it says, is 1,000 larger than 1,500? No. Is 1,000 larger than 800? Yes. So it runs this and then skips the remainder of the ladder. So the only thing that I want to add to this program to finish it off is one remaining situation where I have an else. Oh, I don't want to make a comparison here. Else's never have comparisons. I want to put an else scenario so that if none of these run, then what we're going to do is we're going to have this situation be the case. So else, so we're going to assume a negative here. So else cout wrong direction. Okay, so this is going to assume a negative. So watch what happens if I run this. And there's still one thing to fix up here. How far did you jump? Now, if I put -5, it will tell me wrong direction, because -5 will make all of these things false and then get down here. But there's one thing that like logically doesn't make sense in this one. If I run it again and then I put in 0, it says wrong direction, which is kind of what I wanted to have for a negative scenario. So I can't say for 0 that the jump is farther than a snake's, and I can't say for 0 that they jumped in the wrong direction. So I have to fix it with one extra else scenario. So else if jump equals 0, then what I want to do is I want to see out you forgot to jump. And there I've got every possibility taken care of in this ladder. So it is very important. And sometimes you'll have to just kind of like work through the logic of it or do some trial and error. Sometimes by putting them in the wrong order, you may not get the actual result that you wanted.